I'm convinced at this point that there's a mathematics issue when it comes to WNBA Players Association, and the stuff that comes out of their mouths. Because we've just had a report that the WNBA owners of the WNBA is projecting that the recent proposal from the WNBA Players Association, which would give the players about 30% of gross revenue and is believed to feature approximately a $10.5 million salary cap, would result in $700 million in losses over the course of the agreement. Let's talk about this. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Her Game, Her Way Women's Basketball, where we talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Show. Mud, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave your comments. What do you think of this at face value? Obviously, this is from the WNBA. This is their side. They say that such losses would jeopardize the league's financial health, the sources said, and they would be more than the combined losses of its teams in the WNBA's first 29 years of existence. Now, imagine that. They would lose more than the combined losses of the 29 years in existence of the league if they are to sign the deal that the WNBA Players Association has pushed forward as reasonable. Now, this projection was based on previously audited league financial information. And of course, the union denies, says this is completely ridiculous, it's completely preposterous, and is complete nonsense. That's what the union says. Of course they would, because it contradicts what they think they know. And of course, it all is based on the new fees that are being brought in selling new franchises, the new franchise fees. This is a long ongoing debate. Franchise fees have nothing to do with player and league revenue. The union believes its revenue sharing model still puts the league in a profitable position. A separate source close to the negotiation said, calls the league's projected loss figure absolutely false, citing a discrepancy in whether expansion fees are factored in. See, they're basing their entire proposal, which shows how disingenuous they are. They are basing their entire proposal on the new franchise fees. Boy, you cannot make this up. They are using the franchise fees, not even the TV money. They're using the franchise fees. Do you understand how outrageous it is to use a one-time fee that is not even league revenue or player revenue? It's not player-generated revenue. Player-generated revenue are ticket sales, merch sales, video game sales, action figure sales, whatever other sales. It's not league, it's not selling new franchises. And they're using that as their barometer. But let's continue. The union's proposal accounts for expansion fees in its projections. Of course they would, because it benefits them. Seeing them as real money that still contributes to the owner's bottom lines. You mean the bottom lines that we're losing money forever? The league considers them transactions that generate zero net revenue, which they basically are, because the new teams are out the expansion fee. Remember, they paid to get in the league, but earn a fractional share of the future league revenue. So you paid, let's say, $250 million. You are now going to get about $14 million a year as a franchise based on the television money. But you paid $250 million. So, like, you will not even see your You won't even see your investment come back in a decade based on the current status of the league. You're not even going to see your investment come back right now. New teams are out of the expansion fee but earn a fractional share of the future league revenue, while pre-existing teams get a portion of the fee but lose a fractional share of future league revenue, i.e., they are getting some money, but they're losing money because their cut is now smaller. Either way, the two sides remain divided on the nature of the next deal's revenue sharing model. The league has proposed a system in which players will receive in excess of 50% of net revenue, a source told ESPN, while the union is proposing a system in which the players will receive about 30% of gross revenue. See, this goes back to that old, profit model. They'll give you 50%. I mean, excess of 50% of net revenue. Oh, damn. But that exposes the fact that there is no net revenue. Shit. So basically, what the women want to do is bankrupt the actual league. Remember, the players, the league, the owners of these teams, of which some of them are NBA owners as well. The owners of these teams, they're in the business of making money, right? It's like I feel like I have to explain. It's like I'm talking to an idiot, right? They're in the business of making money. They're not going to give you 30% of negative. So if the gross revenue of the WNBA, let's say for example, is $500 million, I'm just throwing a number out there, $500 million, but the expenses are $750 million. But let's say they're 500. Let's say they're $500 million also. So your net revenue is zero because your expenses were $500 million and your revenue was $500 million. So your actual net revenue is zero. And the players know this. That's why they keep screaming for gross revenue, because they don't produce any profit to this league. But yet they want to take and take and take. And the league projects $700 million plus in losses. And the players are using that money off of new franchises as their logic, which means from the numbers that I've seen from the new franchise fees, that basically the ownership would make no money. I mean, that's basically what it is. The ownership would make no money based on the fact that they project a $700 million plus loss over an 11-year deal, which is the equivalent to about 60 some odd million dollars a year in losses based on a 30% gross revenue split. And I'm trying to do the math in my head that would cause them to lose $65 million a year over 11 each year for 11 years. Because I'm just thinking out loud. But if they're losing 65 million a year based on this, what is the math? What is the actual math? It's obviously that they're going to have, it's obvious they don't bring in much revenue. It's obvious they don't bring in revenue enough to cover the league. Because if you're projecting $65 million in losses pretty much every year for 11 years, which is over $700 million in losses over the 11-year television deal. But again, these players are not concerned about the success of the league. They're concerned about the success of their pockets. And that's fine. I get it. It's a business. They want to make their money. They want to make money too. But they don't care about the league. They never have. They care about themselves. The league, they don't care. They've never shown an interest in truly caring. They are sitting here saying they want 30. Can you imagine if you went to your boss and said, hey, man, I want a revenue share where I take 30% of all of your gross revenue. But damn, our expenses are half of our. We have our gross revenues are $100 million, but our expenses are 50 million. So you want 30% of 100 million. So you want $30 million. I'm just giving out regular numbers. You want $30 million, and then that means we make less than you. We make less. But no. How about if there's $100 million in in revenue, $100 million in expenses? So you want $30 million. So we're negative 30 million now because we've made no money. We've made no money. We have a business designed to lose money. That's what you want. You want a business designed to lose money. That's not how this shit works. It's not how it works. And yet these players will continue to push the narrative that they are being taken advantage of. And they even have it in here where they explain what the difference between gross and net revenues. Can you imagine that in ESPN.com, they have an article written by multiple contributors who are sitting here giving you explanations of the difference between gross and net revenue? Are you kidding me? This is basic economics, basic accounting. But let me read it to you. So if you don't know what it is, I'm sure you do because you're intelligent, but these players are not. In basic terms, net revenue is defined as revenue after subtracting expenses, whereas gross revenue is revenues before subtracting expenses. So basically, they just want money. They don't care about the success of the league. They never have. They never have. They've never had caring of the success of the league because nobody really cares about their sport, man. There's the entire thing with the WNBA, the entire thing, I'm calling it a thing really, is that they want to take advantage of what Caitlin Clark brought them, but never wanted to give her the credit for what they want to take advantage of. And you know what? You know what? If they had actually given her the credit for what they want to take advantage of, a lot of people would be behind them. I mean, a lot of people would stand up with them and say, yeah, I feel you. You're right. But because they never wanted to give her the credit, but now they want to use her, people are like, screw you. So the WNBA views gross revenue as an inaccurate reflection of the business, as it doesn't incorporate the expenses needed to operate teams and the league, while the WNBPA believes players who provide the labor and have no control over expenses shouldn't essentially be paid last. What do you mean you don't have control over expenses? Your salaries are an expense. Your salaries are an expense. The league has previously said that in addition, but of course they forgot that there's hundreds of employees that also work for these organizations who are also an expense. Security is an expense. Doctors are an expense. Uniforms are an expense. Equipment is an expense. The league has previously travel, hotels, those are all expenses. The league has previously said that in addition to substantially increasing salaries and other cost commitments, it wants to incentivize owners to continue to invest in operating the business. The WNBA's tremendous growth in recent years provides an opportunity for the business to go from operating at losses to building sustained profitability. I mean, that's the purpose of any business, is to actually be profitable. Players don't care about profitability. You know what happens in businesses that aren't profitable? They fire employees. They fire employees. They downsize. They lay off people. People don't have jobs. The WNBA is doing the exact opposite. They're giving these fucking idiots 400% salary raises. They're giving them 400% salary increases. And they're not happy, and they think that's not enough. In the real world, if your business that you work for, the company that you work for, is losing money, they will fire you before the year is done because they have to fix their books for the next calendar year. It happens every year across the country. Go look at the people at Facebook and Amazon and all the IT stuff. They chop heads every damn year. Every year. But of course, the WNBPA president, Nneka Ogwumike, said in the December 19th interview that the league's revenue share model is not adequate. The WNBPA and its players have consistently stressed the importance of creating a new deal that represents our value in a very meaningful way. This, even if it destroys the league, that it doesn't exist anymore. This stuff is just crazy, man. It's crazy. 700 million plus. This league is broke. This league is broke. These players want the league to end. They want to suffocate these owners. They want what's going to happen is the owners are going to dump this shit off at some point. They're going to dump this off. I cannot wait for the strike or the lockout to happen by Friday. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. You're telling me that they project over $700 million in losses, which is more than double, which is more than the combined 29 years of combined losses. The league is broke, and the players want to make sure of it. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. It just shows you how incompetent they are. Leave y'all comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is Her Game, Her Way Women's Basketball. We talk facts over feelings. Come on now.